Hello everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about a very special element. It's a true superstar that's all around us. I mean, from the roti and dal we eat for lunch, to the cotton clothes we wear, and even the chair you might be sitting on right now, carbon is literally everywhere.
So that brings us to the big question, right? What is it about carbon that makes it so incredibly special, so versatile that an entire branch of chemistry, we're talking about organic chemistry, is named after it? Well, today we're going to uncover the secrets behind carbon's amazing abilities. So let's dive right in.
All right, first things first. To really understand carbon, we have to understand how it makes friends with other atoms. And it all comes down to its special method of bonding. You could almost call it a secret handshake.
Okay, so the most important word to remember here is sharing. See, unlike other atoms that might give away or snatch electrons from others, carbon is a team player. It believes in partnership. It forms something we call a covalent bond, and this is all about the mutual sharing of electrons between two atoms.
It's just like sharing your lunchbox at school. Imagine you have parathas and your friend has some aloo sabzi. You share some of yours, they share some of theirs, and suddenly you both have a complete, delicious meal. This sharing makes the bond super strong and stable. It's just like a great friendship, really.
Now look at this number on your screen, 4. This is carbon's magic number. It represents a very important property called tetravalency. Let's break that word down. Tetra means 4, and valency is its power to combine with other atoms. So basically, you can imagine carbon has 4 hands, which means it can form 4 of these strong covalent bonds at the very same time.
And if that wasn't enough, here's carbon's second superpower, catenation. This is a fantastic word for a simple idea. It's the amazing ability of carbon atoms to link up with other carbon atoms. They can form very long chains or branch chains, or even join up to form closed rings. Just think of that human chain we make on sports day. Carbon can hold hands with itself almost endlessly.
So let's see. With these two incredible superpowers, forming 4 bonds and linking with itself, you can imagine carbon can create a massive, huge family of compounds. We're going to start with the simplest members of this family, the hydrocarbons. And just as the name suggests, if you break it down, hydro for hydrogen and carbons for carbon, they're made up of only these 2 atoms.
Now, we can divide this big family into 2 main groups. On one side, we have the, let's say, well-behaved saturated hydrocarbons. They only have single bonds between their carbon atoms, and we call them alkanes. On the other side, we have the more reactive unsaturated hydrocarbons. These guys have at least 1 double bond. We call those alkenes, or maybe even a triple bond, which we call alkynes.
And this quote explains a really neat concept perfectly, a homologous series. Think about a family of brothers and sisters. They all have the same surname, right? But each sibling is a little different, a little older or younger. It's the same in chemistry. These compounds are part of the same series, but each one differs from the next by just a small, predictable bit, a CH2 group to be precise.
So it's such a massive family, you're probably wondering, how on earth do we give each one a proper name without getting totally confused? Well, don't worry. Chemistry has some pretty simple rules for that, kind of like how we all have a first name and a surname to identify us.
Let's break it down. It's actually quite simple. The first part of the name, the root name, tells you how many carbon atoms are in the chain. So meth for 1, eth for 2, prop for 3, you get the idea. The second part, the suffix, is like the family name. It tells you the type of bond. For example, the suffix ane tells us it's an alkane with only single bonds. So you put meth and ane together, and what do you get? Methane. Simple, right?
Now, things get even more interesting when special groups of atoms, what we call functional groups, attach to these carbon chains. Think of them like special accessories. You know, if you put on a hat or sunglasses, your whole look changes. It's the same here. When you add a functional group like OH, it completely changes the compound's properties, and it gets a new suffix, in this case, ol, turning it into an alcohol.
Okay, we've covered the basics. Now for the really fun part. Let's take a look around and see where we can find these amazing carbon compounds right inside our own homes. I promise you, they are everywhere, and you'll probably be quite surprised.
Let's meet 2 of our everyday carbon heroes. First up, we have ethanol. This is the alcohol that you find in hand sanitizers that help keep us germ-free. And our second hero is ethanoic acid. You'll know this better as vinegar. It's what gives that tangy taste to so many dishes, and, more importantly, it's what our mothers and grandmothers use as a preservative in our delicious homemade achar.
Now think about something we do multiple times a day, washing our hands. Well, even that simple act involves some really fascinating carbon chemistry. Let's take a look at the magic of how soap actually works.
So, what is soap's secret? Well, the soap molecule has a sort of split personality. It has a head that absolutely loves water and a long tail that hates water but loves oil and dirt. So, when you wash your hands, all these little tails grab onto the grease and dirt. They surround it, forming a tiny little cage called a micelle, which traps the dirt inside. And then when you rinse with water, the water-loving heads get pulled away, taking the entire micelle and the trapped dirt right down the drain. It's such a clever little trap.
But have you ever noticed that sometimes soap just doesn't lather up properly? That's probably because you're using hard water, like the water we often get from a bore well. Soap doesn't like hard water. It forms a sticky, yucky substance called scum. And this is exactly why we invented detergents. Detergents are designed to be better cleaning agents that work perfectly well in both soft and hard water without forming any of that annoying scum.
Excellent! We have covered so much ground today. You've all done a fantastic job. So before we wrap up, let's do a very quick recap of the most important points we learned. So what are the key things to take away today? First, carbon strength comes from its covalent bonds. Remember, it's the master of sharing. Second, don't forget its two amazing superpowers: tetravalency, which gives it 4 hands to bond, and catenation, its unique ability to form long chains with itself. Third, because of these powers, it forms a huge family of compounds. And finally, we saw this chemistry in action with soap, which cleans by forming those clever little dirt-trapping packages called micelles.
And now I want to leave you with a little puzzle to think about. We all know that diamond is one of the hardest substances on Earth. And yet, the graphite in your pencil is super soft. You can write with it. Here's the catch. Both of them are made of pure carbon. So, my question for you is, why is there such a huge difference? As a hint, think about how those carbon atoms might be holding hands differently in each one. I'd love to hear your thoughts. That's all for now. Thank you so much for joining me.
फ्यूचर का टाइम आ गया है, ब्रांड प्रमोशन का नेक्स्ट लेवल। वेलकम टू नेक्स्ट जेन प्रोमो। आज का मार्केट डिजिटल है, कंपटीशन भी क्रिटिकल है। सिर्फ प्रोडक्ट से काम नहीं, प्रमोशन होना विजिबल है। हम लाए स्ट्रैटेजी स्मार्ट, क्रिएटिव विजुअल्स, पावरफुल स्टार्ट। ब्रांड को मिलेगी स्ट्रॉन्ग आइडेंटिटी, मार्केट में बनेगी ऑथोरिटी। नेक्स्ट जेन प्रोमो, नेक्स्ट जेन ग्रो, ब्रांड को मिले फ्यूचर का बूस्ट। नेक्स्ट जेन प्रोमो, स्मार्ट प्रमोशन, डिजिटल वर्ल्ड में स्ट्रॉन्ग पोजीशन। स्टार्टअप हो या बिजनेस बड़ा, हर ब्रांड को चाहिए नया पड़ाव। स्टोरी टेलिंग से इंपैक्ट क्रिएट, ऑडियंस कनेक्ट, दैट इज ग्रेट। वीडियो एड्स, ब्रांड इन फ्लो, हर प्लेटफॉर्म पे ब्रांड को ग्रो। नेक्स्ट जनरेशन मार्केटिंग प्लान, यही है सक्सेस का न्यू स्कैन। नेक्स्ट जेन प्रोमो, डोंट जस्ट प्रमोट, प्रमोट स्मार्ट, प्रमोट नेक्स्ट जेन।
आज के समय में सिर्फ रिज्यूमे बनाना काफी नहीं है। जरूरी है कि लोग आपको समझें, आपकी स्किल्स को जानें और आपकी कहानी सुने। आज सोशल मीडिया पर जो दिखता है वही बिकता है। इसीलिए हम लाए हैं रिज्यूम एक्सप्लेनेशन वीडियो सर्विस, जहां आपका रिज्यूम ये प्रोफेशनल तरीके से ये आसान भाषा में समझाया जाता है। देखो, इससे बनती है आपकी करियर रेपुटेशन और मजबूत होती है आपकी सोशल रेपुटेशन। जब आप अपना रिज्यूम वीडियो सोशल मीडिया पर शेयर करते हैं तो लोग आपको सिर्फ नाम से नहीं, आपकी काबिलियत से पहचानते हैं। क्योंकि आपकी पहचान मायने रखती है। क्योंकि आपकी पहचान मायने रखती है।